Hey guys, thanks for coming here to Salty Ginger Talk. For those that are returning listeners, it's great to have you back. For new listeners, thank you for joining us. We really hope you like what you hear. So, on our podcast, it's for people that want to learn something new or make themselves a little bit better every day. So, a lot of times we'll focus on a particular topic or a subject and really do a deep dive and give you tips on how to incorporate those approaches in your daily life to make your daily life better. We're fortunate today to be joined by someone who has experienced the things that we're all trying to experience. And we think he's got a really powerful message and story to tell. He is a business coach, he's a podcast host, he's a speaker, a digital media and creative consultant, and an entrepreneur. And he has a great podcast that we were fortunate enough to be guests on last year called The Hidden Entrepreneur. We highly suggest you subscribe to it and check out his content because he talks to tons of interesting people and puts his own high energy, positive, uh, really kind of empowering approach to things. And that person is Josh Cary. So let's welcome Josh to the podcast now.
Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that intro. I loved having you on the show, and I'm glad to be having this conversation with you now.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We've been chasing it for a couple of months. We were excited to get you on the show, and we're glad that schedules aligned to make it happen. So, um, yeah, Josh. So, like we've talked previously, you kind of had it seems like an epiphany, and you were kind of plugging away at things, and your mindset changed. Talk a little bit about that. What was that like? Whatever you're willing to share with our listeners to help them on their path is super useful.
Well, for the record, I'm willing to share everything, anything that's of value, but I'll put it into perspective for you so we have a basis from which to draw. Today, I'm known as the hidden entrepreneur, and that's because I spent 40 plus years of my life hiding, showing up in every situation, hiding my true talent, my true ability, everything that I was actually capable of achieving and doing. I remained hidden because I was scared and I was desperate to seek the approval of others. That you can imagine gets very tiring very quickly. And the irony is here, not only did I know darn well what I was capable of doing, which in and of itself creates this angst and frustration, I didn't want to pursue what I was really good at because I thought it would make you feel insecure about your own pursuits and endeavors if you saw me pursuing mine, and that might cause retaliation, etc., that I didn't feel strong enough that I'd be able to survive. So I remained hidden. Today, I'm blessed with two adoring children. I have an 11-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old son. Early on in their young lives, I realized I am just simply not the person I want to continue to be while they're staring back at me as I'm not my best. So I said, if this continues, it's not going to end well. That in and of itself, after 40 plus years, was enough to say, I got to get things in order here. And I started taking small steps to adjust what I knew I could be doing and just put a little bit better in place over time and continue down that path.
Excellent. So, not that you need approval, but I just want everyone to appreciate what Josh just did because he kind of laid his dirty laundry wide open, right? And that is a difficult thing for people to do. But it's also one of the reasons Josh is successful now is because he was willing to confront what was causing his problems so that he could deal with those problems, issues, unhappiness, whatever the case may be. So kudos to you, Josh, because a lot of people really struggle with that. And I think it's just really important to recognize that. So that's a comment. The question is, what were the first steps or first things you did after your epiphany? Because I think a lot of people get stuck with the inertia, right? How did you overcome that inertia to start taking action?
It's a great question because you're absolutely right. So much of what we hear online is about just do it. Don't think about it. Just put your best foot forward and go for it. But people are like, yeah, but I can't, right? How do I do that? I know what you're saying, but how? So you're asking the right question. So It's twofold. First, it was that admission that, okay, enough's enough. The time is now. Things have to change. But okay, so now I'm ready. What do I do? The first is becoming extremely self aware, right? Now, this might be a little esoteric, but I'm going to get into a tangible in a minute. First, you have to be self aware. That's what I did and say, okay, what am I feeling right now? How can I put words to this for myself so I understand my current situation? Then I realized I needed to include personal responsibility, meaning I needed to realize that everything that has happened and was happening was because of me, right? I can't blame or complain about anything going on the outside here. So, what I started realizing and embracing is the idea we've heard is that our external world is nothing more than a reflection of our internal world. And if we want anything to change out here, we need to take personal responsibility that it's on us to change it. And what's happening here is because of us. This isn't a fault or a blame game. This is an empowerment game. So when I realized that, I said, I created all this, which means I can change all this by creating something different. And it's going to start in me, in my mindset. So, first, what I did, besides starting to get clear on what it means to change mindset and filling my mind with better and different things, the tangible was that I knew all my life that I was hiding in fear while playing on the sidelines, seeing everybody else doing the things I wanted and could be doing because of really, I felt like if I stepped forward, there'd be retaliation, right? They'd push me back. Hey, who do you think you are? Come on, this isn't for you. Get out of here. So I said, well, if I want something to change, I have to find somebody, a coach, a mentor, to have in my corner that I can work with and feel comfortable with, that should I start venturing out, I can then rely on this person to know that, like, they're going to help get things right. So the first thing I did was to find that mentor who will help me take these steps. So important. And I never had to rely on them. Nobody did retaliate. And I never told them that I'm using them in part for that situation. But guess what? What we focus on continually is what appears in our world. So, because I was no longer focusing on the fear and any possible form of retaliation, it never came. But if it did, I knew that I had the security blanket of this mentor to say, hey, can you help me out with this? Because this is happening. And having that person in my court was a huge step that helped me take the steps to build on itself.
Super, super interesting. So this the mentor, without getting into details, was this someone that was already in your life, or is this
No.
someone that you sought out and developed a new relationship with?
Um, well, they might, like, it was somebody I met online, right, who was in a coaching and mentorship role to begin with, that I found myself attracted to and gravitating to. And I don't think that earlier in my journey I would have been connected to him because I wasn't ready for that, right? So you almost have to find, when you're at that place, who is in your world that you feel really comfortable and connected with, that can help you. So it was nobody that I was really connected personally or professionally with, but then reached out to create that relationship with.
Excellent. And now fast forward, you offer those same services and that same support to clients, right?
Yeah, and that's simple because I've been at this for almost 10 years now. So when I started taking those steps, I realized that I have to leave so much behind of this person that I no longer want to continue being, which included a decade long digital marketing agency that I created and was running, had hundreds of clients month after month that I was working with in that role. It got toxic after a while. And that was part of the shedding. I said, just like any other relationship, I don't know what's next, for my business, but this business isn't serving me anymore. And I made the tough decision to rip the Band-Aid off and close up shop. And I took a few months from that point to say, well, what am I going to do here? In that time, the hidden entrepreneur brand came to me, and I started understanding that that's the direction I want to go. That felt right. And then I said, well, I want to take a journey where I'm talking about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it to sort of evolve into a better version of myself. I come from the acting and film world, so I never lost that itch. So I was drawn to podcasting as an obvious method here. And I said, let me create a podcast under that brand and just start communicating the message of personal growth, business growth, personal development, spirituality, really embracing all of that. Created the show, got good at it, started making a name for myself under the brand, and then just started attracting other people who were appreciating it and who I could connect with and help do the same, which to this day, it's more of the same. I use podcasting to help clients really use that as the vehicle for what we're accomplishing here, but it's a means to an end, right? The end is speak up, speak your mind, get your message out, stop living, laying in bed at night with that burning desire to impact and to share your message with the world. I help you find a way to structure that, take the steps forward, and to do it. Sure, on podcasts, but do it. And that's what I help people do because I've lived it. And I'm so passionate about can't live that way, and you don't have to live that way.
Love it. So I'd be interested to get your take because while you were talking, it made me think of this. I have a theory, and clearly I think it's right because it's my theory, but most anxiety is because people know what they should be doing and they're not doing it, right? So the cure, in my opinion, the cure for anxiety is action. And I think people stop or are stopped from taking action through fear. They're afraid of failing. They're afraid of looking stupid. They're afraid of whatever the case may be. And it is such a high hurdle that like they can't get over it. And is that something that you see with your clients? Do you talk through those types of things with your clients when you coach them?
Yes. And taking it one step further, we start with the belief system that we have. I really dig into that. We all, through life, we develop beliefs that we don't even realize are beliefs, but they're just the facts of life and the way the world is. And these are big beliefs and small beliefs of all kind. And again, often you don't even realize that you're saying such things as fact when it's not. Something as simple where it's like, well, it takes forever to make $1 million, or it's so difficult to make $1 million or to succeed, or it's so difficult to get on camera, right? Big and small and little things that just stop you in your tracks before you begin. So what I love focusing on is really listening and extracting those beliefs because that is what's in the way. I'll use that example that I just brought up about going on camera or getting your voice out or putting a message out there. People don't do that. Yeah, they're scared. This is the broad generalization of it. They're scared. They're fearful. What people will think. What are they going to say? How's it going to make them look? Who's going to read it? Does anybody care? Yeah, that's great. But what is the real belief that is driving that we really have to knock down in order for you to get on camera or to put your message out? But you're right. That is the path forward.
Yeah. So you really should be asking those questions in front of a mirror, right? Because that's where it all starts and where it all ends is you. And so if you've got to dig into where the problems are right up here. And that's where you've got to deal with them because there's a mindset that comes with success and there's a mindset that limits success. And to your point, that's why we focus so much on our channel on fact-based, left-brained, unemotional decisions because what a lot of people take as the gospel for truth is simply their belief or their opinion.
Mm.
It's not true at all. They just decided that it's true. And getting people past that, I would think that'd be something rewarding about what you do. Have you seen that with clients where you see them break through those barriers and just flourish? You have any stories you could share on that?
Yeah, and generally it's such a small, oftentimes it's just a small admission, because like me, my whole life I knew darn well what I wanted to do. I knew what I was capable of doing. I just had that fear of doing it. And until I got clear on that, that's what I needed to really find the success. So when I'm working with a client, it's often just digging into an admission that they already know that they previously haven't been willing to admit, explore, and let go, that they just have to. It's almost like using me as a permission slip, right? We know what we should, could, and want to be doing, but sometimes you just haven't thought about it in this way. It might have been even blocked in a way. So I help extract and bring it out and see the truth of what you need and give you the permission forward, the permission slip. It's so important, which is sometimes all we're looking for in somebody.
Yeah, I noticed that on your website. You talk a lot about, hey, it's up to me. If I want it to happen, it's up to me.
Yeah.
But if there is some external validation that you're looking for, hey, a coach or a mentor or someone, that's great to get. But no one's coming to save you. The world doesn't owe you anything. There is no, hey, because I exist, I'm entitled to X, Y, or Z. Whatever you get out of life is generally what you put into life. So to your point, if you're hiding in the shadows and you're avoiding center stage, you're not going to be the star. You're not going to be a star of your own life. And you want to, I think most people want to be the star of their own life. And one of the things we talk to people about is that looks different for everybody. So for you, for me, like I love doing the podcast because I feel like I've accumulated a ton of life experience. I think I'm good under pressure. I think I'm a good thinker. And I want to teach people how to use those thought processes to do whatever they want in their own life. And there's no right or wrong answer. So for you, it's the path you chose. If you want to be a really good accountant, I think all the principles still apply. If that's what you love, if you love accounting, go be a rock star accountant. Go be a great accountant. If you want to be a great welder or a plumber or a doctor or whatever, it shouldn't change the thought process, right? We should all be thinking about, is this really what I love? Is this really what I want to pursue? And am I doing something to hold myself back from kind of achieving my full potential in this arena?
We hold ourselves back primarily out of fear of something, right? There's a handful of fears that we're aware of, but it's a fear of something. And being able to extract in something that we are already aware of where that fear is grounded is all it's about. So going back to the two-step process, like you alluded to, it's the self-awareness. What am I feeling right now? And why am I feeling these? What is it really about? Sit with yourself for a minute and ask yourself, what is the predominant primary emotion that I feel in my life? And name it, right? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it jealousy? Right? What is that emotion that you're feeling? And then once you do that, you'll be able to start owning the emotion and knowing that, nobody, and this is where the power for you comes in, nobody is inflicting that upon me. I'm choosing to react in that way. Now, if you feel currently, as I'm talking, a resistance to that, that is something to be discussed as well. Okay, what is the resistance here? Well, that's not true. You don't know what they did and they've always been. And it's a, how am I supposed? Okay, well, let's talk about this, right? And that's really what it's all about. You say you want X, Y, and Z. So let's together unravel this and get through it for your benefit. How are you going to get through this? So much of what I do is therapeutic in a way because it has to be, right? I know the questions to ask. I know how to be sensitive, yet direct and thought provoking that get you to where you need to be because you feel it. You feel this want and need and desire to do more, have more, be more. So let's get out of the way. Use me as the permission slip. And how could we get around this and get you through it so you can show up in such a great way? Because what I've achieved to date is a skill. It's right. If you saw me, people talk to me, they're like, oh, you were never extroverted, you were never always extra. First of all, I don't even know if I am. I'm so confused with introvert, extrovert. I'm not even sure how to label myself with that, so I just don't even try. But like confident, fine, I may be a little more confident today than I ever was. I was a freaking mess, right? A handful of years ago, I was the most insecure, anxious ridden person. So, all that to say is, whatever I am displaying today is a learned skill if you want it. It's based in self awareness, personal responsibility, and the ability to learn how to communicate. Vital. That's what this is all grounded in, the ability to learn how to communicate. And then it just builds the confidence on itself. And you take that each and every day and move forward.
That's awesome. Like that's so well said. I'm not even going to touch it because you did such a great job on it. Um, just we got a few minutes left here. I love your podcast. I've watched several episodes of The Hidden Entrepreneur. I was one of the guests. How do you find your guests, and what do you look for in your guests? What makes you think, hey, this person would be good to share with my audience? Their story would be good to share with my audience.
You said the word, the story. I don't really care what you do. You're a supermarket guy. Would I ever think that you'd be a good guest? No, spoiler alert, I wouldn't have. But you were a fantastic guest because of your story. What do I look for? I look for people who get it. What does that mean? Someone that I'm just inherently attracted to. And so much of what we do in life is designed, whether we realize it or not, as an attraction mechanism. Everything I put out is either going to attract the right person or detract the right person. That's the way we're designed as people, as human beings. So if somebody comes into my world and is pitching me or speaking with me and they want to be on the show, I'll know pretty quickly whether it feels right and it is right. And I don't care what you do on your resume or on paper or what your position or job is. If you're a great person that I can get into your mind and extract a great story and have you participate to help the listener achieve something during their time spent together, then it's a win. I like to go deep. I like to get involved. So if you get that, if you're into that, we'll mesh well together.
Yep, that's great. Look, I can vouch. I can vouch for what Josh just said because he has a very diverse group of people that he's interviewed for his podcast. So absolutely love it. So just a few minutes left here, Josh. In the closing minutes here, what would you, for someone that's looking at their life and says, you know what, this just isn't it. There's got to be more. I got to go after something. What would be the one thing you would recommend to them to do, to think, to try to help them start down that path?
You're going to have to sit with yourself. You're going to have to get real with yourself personally and either write some stuff down or voice note some stuff down. It's going to start with the bigger picture. What do you want to be doing that you are not currently doing? What is the ultimate goal here, right? What do you see yourself doing, big picture, that you want to be doing that you're not doing? And I know you're not doing it, which is why we're frustrated and aggravated and pissed off to begin with. So what do you want to be doing? You have to get really clear on that, right? Get as clear as you can. What's the vision? What do you want to be doing? If you don't have the vision, how are we supposed to get somewhere? First and only question, what would make you happy? What would you greatly enjoy doing that you are not currently doing? And then, and only after then, and we discuss that and we see what that is, then we can discuss, okay, fine, why aren't you doing it is very important. And then what do we want to be doing step by step? What is the very first step we can do so you see a quick win and a result towards this? Because that's how confidence is built. Not one big leap, but small, consistent steps over time build the confidence. And that's what we have to do. You want more for yourself. You see more for yourself. What is the big vision? What do you want to be doing? Then we can outline in detail, why are you not doing it? Yeah, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. Let's dig into that. What are you afraid will happen if you pursued this? Let me repeat that. What are you afraid will happen if you pursued this in your current scenario? And then what are we going to be doing day in and day out? How are we going to get you closer to that goal to build the confidence and get you emotionally released into this path?
Awesome. Awesome. So, Josh, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate having you on as a guest. For our listeners, you can learn more about Josh on his website, joshcary.com. We'll put that in the comments section. And his podcast is The Hidden Entrepreneur. So, highly recommend if you like our content. I think Josh does a great job, similar approach, similar mindset, and think it really resonates with our audience. So, Josh, thanks so much. We will stay connected and certainly have you back on at some point in the future. And can't thank you enough. You have a great week.
My pleasure, Joe. You're wonderful. Thank you for this.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys. So great interview there with Josh. I think he gave several very specific things that you can do right now to take control of whatever it is that's eating away at you and start taking action towards building the life that you want. So we were super excited to have Josh on the channel. We were on his channel last year. Think he's a high energy, very positive, very intelligent guy that's gone through this transformation and now helps people go through similar transformations in their life to pursue whatever it is that's important to them. So we hope you got a lot of value out of the episode today. So James always puts it up over here. Don't forget to head over to our website, saltygingertalk.com. We've got all of our podcast episodes available there. We've got links to all our social media accounts there, and we publish a newsletter every weekday that you can subscribe to there as well. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel, whatever platform you consume it on. Really appreciate you checking out the channel. Looking forward to seeing you the next time. Thanks, guys.